Hi, hello, and welcome to look number 5 that I am going to be doing with the mega palette from Pat McGrath Labs for Holiday 2024, which is called the Luminous Legends. If this is the first video that you're coincidentally coming across, this is how the palette looks like, and I've been doing a week of this palette on my channel. Now, I've already done my base makeup, I have eyeshadow primer on, basically everything up to the point of bronzer. So I'm going to take my bronzer, which for today is going to be Bronze Mahogany from Pat McGrath Labs. And I wanted to say that I've been having so much fun with this week of Luminous Legends, and I feel like I'm not quite done with the palette, so I think I'm going to keep going until the end of this working week. So that's still tomorrow and Friday, meaning that we're going to do a total of 7 looks, because I feel like there is still somewhat more looks that we can explore with this palette, and because I'm having so much fun with it and I feel really motivated to do these videos, I think we should just keep pushing for as long as possible, because you never know when my motivation for YouTube is going to drop and I will disappear for a while. So let's just, keep up the good times. I'm going to stick with Pat also for blush and highlighter today. So for my blush I'm going to take the beautiful Nude Venus 2, which was a limited edition blush with a holiday collection some years ago. I don't think it was last year, I think it was the year before, and it is one of my favorite blushes from Pat. But unfortunately I don't think that blush is still available. Another old limited edition product from my holiday collection from Pat McGrath Labs is this highlighter in the shade Lunar Nude. This is one of her beautiful highlighters that are in the baked formula that sadly we didn't get this year. I think for the past couple of years there's always been a baked highlighter with the holiday collection, and this is the first year that we're not really getting any sort of like face product. There was no blush, there was no highlighter. I'm still not sure whether some other products are coming later on, closer to the actual holidays. You never know with Pat when she's going to throw us a curveball, but at least for now it seems like we're not really getting those beautiful baked highlighters for the holidays, but I do cherish the ones that I have, and I think Lunar Nude is beautiful. It's a cooler toned sort of like pink without being too overtly icy pink. I'm quickly going to set my face with a little bit of Fix Plus by MAC with my Real Techniques sponge, just so everything melts nicely with each other, and then we can do the eye look that I have planned for today. So my plan for today's look is actually rather simple, because I am planning on doing the usual crease work that I've enjoyed doing with this palette thus far. I'm going to mix Sun-Kissed Rose and Sable Seductress through my crease. I'm going to put Sable Seductress here in the outer corner of the eye and a little bit through the lashes. And then I'm going to go in with this beautiful purple here, the shade Platinum Lilac, which is going to be my lid and inner corner shade. I cannot wait to put this shade all over my lids. Now, I've mentioned a couple of times that dread is really an overreaction. I don't really want to use this purple here, the shade Orchid Opulence, not because there's anything wrong with this shade, but just because I really dislike magentas like this. I don't mind wearing colors like this as lipsticks, but I dislike them on my eyes. I don't want to put this shade as like a actual lid shade. I want to layer it over other things because I want to make it work for me in the context of this palette. I put Sun-Kissed Rose and Sable Seductress on my fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to run that through my crease. I actually really like these two shades together as a crease shade. They create this like softer, neutral toned brown. Just like a light dab in each shade. I am actually very curious, for those of you in the US, have your palettes finally shipped? Because I heard from a bunch of you that, first of all, they weren't even shipping the palettes before October 4th. And since then, I know for a couple of you, they've said that there have been delays. So I'm curious, did you even receive shipping notifications? Have your palettes started to actually arrive? Because based on the amount of US-based YouTubers in my feed and the fact that no one has posted anything yet with Luminous Legends, I am kind of assuming that no one has gotten their palettes yet, which is really strange. Unfortunately, that means that for those of you who are in the US, her shipping still sucks balls. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not thrilled that us here in mainland Europe finally don't have to wait for months to get our Pat McGrath orders. I'm going to go into the deep brown shade Sable Seductress. And I'm going to run that here on the outer edge of the eye as well as close to the lashes. And you know, considering how much more of an advantage you guys in the US have in terms of all sorts of other makeup releases, I can't feel bad for you, okay? I can sympathize with you, but I can't feel too bad, since in a lot of other instances you have so much more of an advantage than us here in Europe. Okay, going into my NYX glitter glue, because I definitely think this shade will benefit from having a glitter glue, although let me say this, it is not absolutely necessary. I think this eyeshadow will stick just fine and it will apply just fine without any sort of glitter glue. But I also apply glitter glue sort of like as an extra, you know, security mechanism to make sure that my eyeshadows in this formula do not crease, because the Queen formula from Pat, because it is so creamy, tends to crease on people with oilier eyelids. And I apparently don't have the oiliest eyelids out there, which was a surprise to me too. I think my eyelids are fairly oily, but those of you who have even oilier eyelids really struggle with this formula creasing. So for me it really helps if I put down both a primer and a glitter glue. And now I'm going to take the shade Platinum Lilac, and I'm going to approach this shade in the exact same way that I approach Lunar Luxury here, because in terms of their texture, these two shades are pretty much identical. So I'm going to load just a few flakes on my brush like this. I think it's always easy to start with a little bit and put more if necessary. Ooh, this shade is so pretty. I love it. I absolutely love this lilac shade. Now this is the kind of purple that I like. I'm going to, like I said, also put that in my inner corners because it works as an inner corner highlight. I already wore it like this in my previous look, and also I don't know that I can really think of another eyeshadow here that would really work as an inner corner highlight. I think Lunar Luxury actually might work, but considering what I want to do next, Lunar Luxury might not be the best inner corner highlight. I should have also probably done my lower lashes with a bit of Sable Seductress. Okay, we can do that in a bit. Taking a few more flakes and just gently working them onto my lids. I feel like I maybe over applied a little bit of the Platinum Lilac shade on here. It's starting to look a bit chunkier. I like it here a little bit better. That's what I mean with this formula. You have to be so incredibly careful, and I know that for some people it will be too much of a fuss to have to be this careful with a formula. But I'm warning you, if you really want this palette, if you really like this formula and you want to make it work, you have to use less than you think you should. I'm going to take the brush on which I had Sable Seductress before, and I'm going to mix a bit of Sun-Kissed Rose and Sable Seductress again, and just run that here on my lower lashes. I am also going to give a nice little blend of everything here through my crease. And then I want to try basically to take that Orchid Opulence shade and just apply a tiny bit of that over top of the Platinum Lilac shade, or at least like the center portion of the lids, to see what that's going to do with Orchid Opulence in terms of like toning down that like magenta base color, because that's the color that really I don't like. The sparkles are really nice, and the texture of this eyeshadow is actually quite nice because it's one of like the smoother formulas in here. Like some of these eyeshadows are quite chunky, some of them are a bit smoother, some of them are just more creamy. So there is even a variety of like textures within this formula. So I'm going to take a little bit of that Orchid Opulence shade and I'm going to apply that over Platinum Lilac. And I actually don't mind what this is doing to Platinum Lilac. It's giving it a bit of like a warmer purpley hue, but without it being too pink. I mean, it turns it a bit less cool toned. So if you're really into the cool tone of Platinum Lilac, you are not going to like the direction that this layering takes the shadow in. But I think this is a way for me, like a really good way for me to wear Orchid Opulence. And then I'm sure in artificial lighting some of the blue sparkles in Orchid Opulence are also going to come through, together with like the more cool tone silvery sparkles of Platinum Lilac, so I'm sure this is going to look really stunning under artificial lighting. I think I'm going to leave it at that because I'm actually really happy with the tone of the eyeshadow now. And I will be back with the finished makeup and we're going to do some comparison swatches. I am super curious about sparkle moment, so let's find out. Ooh, I like this. I mean, Platinum Lilac is pretty much as sparkly as Lunar Luxury, but I really like the layering with Orchid Opulence. I actually am quite enjoying the combination of the two. I really love being able to make something that I don't like work for me, and I feel like I deserve a pat on the back for that. I feel like Orchid Opulence might look really nice layered over a number of eyeshadows in this palette, so now I'm actually really excited to use it a bit more and like try playing around with it over different eyeshadows in Luminous Legends. Anyway, let me quickly tell you what I did for lipstick. It's interesting, right, because I feel like I went relatively cool toned with the rest of my makeup, and then the lips turned out quite warm, and usually I would be like, oh, I don't like this, let me put something else on. But I, for some reason, think it actually works really well. Now, I am wearing one of the new Hermes lipsticks in the shade, I already forgot what this is called, Beige D'Oubli. This is one of their new limited edition lipsticks for fall. It is a gorgeous clay color. And then I felt like I would like to have a bit of like shine on my lips. So I brought in one of their limited edition lipsticks from a holiday collection from a few years ago that for the life of me I cannot remember the name of right now. The thing with this lipstick is that I swapped around the packaging because originally the color Beige Crosette came in this packaging, but I've swapped it around because I really felt like this component just really wants to have a red lipstick in it. So now I have a different color in the actual packaging of this lipstick, but that means I can never remember the name of it. No, this is Beige Crosette. Beige Crosette is a gorgeous, like warm peachy beige color. And the finish of this lipstick is so gorgeous because it basically makes your lips look like glazed donuts. Really beautiful formula. So I think the two work really well together, these two shades, and I'm really happy with, you know, the overall combination of tones and colors that's going on here. I'm very curious what you think about it. Let me know in the comments. And now let's get into some comparison swatching. First I'm going to swatch Platinum Lilac against a couple of those like purpley lavendery shades that are present in Pet's collection, or at least shades that I think might be similar or some of you have requested to see swatched side by side. So that would be Platinum Lilac over here. And let's start with Mothership 6 Midnight Sun, where we have this gorgeous lilac shade here, one of my favorites. You would think that being one of my favorites I would know the name of it, but no, I've already forgotten it. Blitz Violet Orchid. Now I think Blitz Violet Orchid, you can also appreciate, is much deeper in tone. However, it's much more the kind of purple that I really love to wear. This is a gorgeous blue toned purple, and these are the kind of purples that I love to wear. Now it's very interesting that when you put something that is so blue toned next to Platinum Lilac, Platinum Lilac almost looks warmer toned, like it has like a pinker tone to it than I expected. I thought this would be cooler in tone, but when you put it next to something which is really cool toned, it is actually not as cool toned, right? That's really interesting. I always think that's really funny when you like have a certain expectation for a color and then you put it next to a different color and you see a completely different undertone. Love that. And because I all of a sudden saw this sort of like warmer undertone, I want to swatch next to the lavender shade in Fleur Fantasia, which is called Lavender Blue, which is this one right here. This is a completely different texture. Like all of these three eyeshadows have a different texture. This is, look at the Quaint formula. This is one of her baked Blitz Astral shades, and here we have somewhat of a more regular, you know, satin metallic. Now I feel like the undertone of this lavender shade here from Fleur Fantasia is similar to the undertone of the shade Platinum Lilac. However, this shade also has a very strong, like, light baby blue duochrome to it. So they're still, you know, not the same eyeshadow, but I feel like in terms of undertone, these two are closer together, which surprises me because I thought these two would be closer together. And now a swatch comparison that was requested, I think, by Claudia, who continues to be on the hunt for something that looks like lavendering here from the Risque Rose Quad. This is from the Holiday Collection 2021. Let me swatch that. Let me do it right here next to Platinum Lilac so that we can see the similarities. I unfortunately really don't think they are all too similar. Lavendering has a very special kind of base color to it. It's like this light grayish with a green tinge to it base with that beautiful like magenta purple sparkle. So unfortunately I really don't think that you will be getting much of the same experience with Platinum Lilac. It's also a different like type of texture. It's much drier, flakier texture. They're both beautiful eyeshadows in their own way, but I don't think they're very similar to each other. I'm sorry, Claudia. I think unfortunately you will still need to go on the hunt for Risque Rose to have Lavendering. Lavendering is just not a very easy eyeshadow to dupe. And why wouldn't she put back something like I would love to have Lavendering be a repeat shade in her collection. Like, why not repeat Lavendering? Why give us 5 gold standards? Please give us more Lavendering. Okay, so yesterday after I swatched the blue shade, the Celestial Cerulean shade, here I realized that the shade in the Subversive palette, so the Blitz Blue Amethyst is something with amethyst, is similar to it, but of course also the blue shade in another one of those 2021. Are these 2021 or 2020? These might be from 2020. Yeah, these are from 2020, excuse me. I've like blocked out 2021 because the quads that year were absolutely atrocious and I decluttered both of them. But anyway, we're talking about the shade Hypnotic here from the Interstellar Icon quad, which again I think is, I mean, a similar-ish eyeshadow, not exactly the same. I think the intensity of the blue in Celestial Cerulean is just much stronger compared to both the Blitz shade from Subversive and Interstellar Icon. Are they very similar? Yes, because they are both blues with a purple base and a blue duochrome. But this is also a bit more subtle in terms of texture. It's more of a classic metallic shade, whereas this is in her Queen formula. So obviously they're going to look beautiful layered together if you wanted to add a bit of sparkle or a bit more sparkle to this one. But yeah, I think they're quite similar. To me, they're quite similar. Another comparison that has been requested is for Femme Fatale over here and Blood Moon 005 from Midnight Sun, because I feel like the two have a somewhat similar tone of orange. Again, very different textures because this is in her Baked Blitz formula, but as you can see, the base color of the two shades and how they come across on the lid I think is going to be rather similar. So here we have Flame Fatale and here we have Blood Moon 005. See, they're actually quite similar to each other. This is maybe just a tad brighter. I think the thing with these Queen formula eyeshadows is they're just a tad brighter compared to a lot of their, you know, dupe counterparts, but these two are also quite similar. Like on the lid, I don't think many people will be able to tell the difference between these two eyeshadows. Yes, this has like a gold sparkle to it, which this doesn't. This is more of like a flaky, coppery, rosy shade. But on the lid, I think they look quite similar to each other. So, and if you prefer the baked formula, then you're much better off getting the Midnight Sun palette. And I do believe we've covered all the requested comparison swatches. If you can think of anything else, let me know. I'm more than happy to continue doing these comparison swatches for you as we go along. As I said, I don't actually think I'm really done with this palette quite yet, because I haven't yet done a look with my favorite, like one of my favorite shades in this palette, which is this one here. This is the shade Honey Nectar. I tried not to use Honey Nectar and Lunar Luxury too much because they are repeats from previous queens, and I've done a lot of looks already with these previous queens. It was one of my favorite eyeshadows from the previous holiday collection release, and I really don't want to, you know, do a week of this palette without doing a look that has Honey Nectar in it. So I think I'm going to do a look with Honey Nectar. I still haven't really played around with this shade as well. I think this would be a nice shade to put as a base and like have something over top of it as a sparkle moment. So, you know, I feel like we're not quite done with this palette, so I think I'll come back tomorrow and Friday to do 2 more looks, and then we have a total of 7 looks, which I think should give you a pretty decent idea of how this palette performs and what kind of looks you can get from it. Anyway, let me know what you thought about this look. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!